guys in the office who were making tons of extra money, FU money, let's call it, that they were willing to blow. And I said, I was a family guy, I had a baby, and I didn't do drugs or chase girls. So here we go. I'll just run with this. I'll take my gambling addiction and make it something even positive for me. Because I always gamble. That's the one thing I've always done.
All right, guys, got Matt Bowyer on today. Crazy story. He's going to reveal his side of the story because we've seen a lot of articles on it. Thanks for coming on today, man.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, so obviously you got portrayed in a certain light. I'd love to hear from you what exactly happened.
Yeah, the problem with the media is to sell and to get eyes on them. They try to make you look as bad as possible. So the truth of the matter is most of the stuff they put out is, I'd say, 80% accurate. It's the part that you have no defense, right? I haven't been able to speak about it or tell my side of the story, which is great. You're giving me that today, so I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. So 80% was accurate. What was the 20% that you had an issue with?
It's just the sensationalism of what really happened. Leaving out tidbits or explaining a side of a story that maybe occurred, but yet not explaining really why or the back end of the story. So, as an example, they portrayed as if I knew, going to the Shohei Ohtani part, that I knew all along that he was stealing money. That's kind of the way that they portray me. I had no idea that he was stealing money from Shohei Ohtani. Truthfully, the real story is I don't even know to this day who was actually gambling on the account. The FBI, the government did all their homework and research, and they're the ones who put out what they believe happened. Even to this day, the only two people that really know what occurred on that betting account is Shohei Ohtani and Ipe Mizuhara.
Wow. Were they betting online or in person at the casino?
All online. My website, which was in Costa Rica, my job was to provide a service, right? So the service that I provided was really simple. I give you an account. You tell me the credit line you want. It's all credit based. You would start betting with me. We would settle up based on that either every week or on a settle account or settle amount, I should say. So as an example, this account that we're referring to started with $1,000 per game, $8,000 credit line, which is normal, very small, very, really a normal account. And what turned out to be $1,000, $8,000 turned out to be $40 million.
Wow.
In about a 16-month period.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
They bet 40 mil?
Well, he bet $326 million through my website.
Holy crap.
In 16 months. And the amount of bets he made was over 19,000 wagers, which is almost a full-time job in itself. I mean, literally, you have to be on a phone or computer, logging in, you put in an account number, you put in the bet, you got to confirm the bet, you got to pick the bet, go to the sport. I mean, it's very time-consuming. So clearly he had a very big gambling addiction. And I had no idea to the extent of how bad it was until over a period of time. And he never showed any sign of, distray or, he would make fun of himself during our, relationship to the point where he laughed about it.
Wow.
And it never showed me a sign of, oh my God, this is a problem. I mean, I knew it was a problem. He was gambling way more but I also gambled at that level. So I have my own vice, so it's like, I understood where he was coming from, but I just had no idea that he was actually stealing money, from Shohei.
Right. Did he make money on it or did he lose money?
He won 140 plus million betting through me, and then he lost 180 plus million.
Holy
so the net was $40 million in losses.
Damn, what a crazy swing.
Yeah, it was wild. I mean, it started off at $1,000 bets and ended up being the max he was ever betting was $100,000 a game.
That is so nuts. But you make money either way, right? Even if he wins or loses?
Well, no, because had he lost, because I'm the house, I was the casino. So had he lost, I would have had to pay him. I only paid him a couple times in our relationship because he was such a bad gambler. But the truth of the matter is he had a couple big weeks. He won $4.5 million in 1 week. That was probably his biggest week I think he ever had betting with me. But overall, it was clearly a win for me. And I got paid $16 million. The other $24 million, he bounced on because he's now going to prison, which is, very sad to see. But the $24 million is very obviously uncollectible.
Wow. Did he get sentenced to that?
Yeah, he got sentenced to 57 months in prison.
Holy crap.
He committed a crime. He stole a lot of money. And, at the end of the day, you steal $17 million from your employer. I have a feeling you're going to do a pretty big sentence.
So he had access to Shohei's money.
I didn't know that till afterwards. But yeah, he was acting Apparently, there's actually bank phone calls of him portraying to be Shohei
No
Ohtani.
way.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
that easy? You could just say you're him?
because he was an interpreter. So
Oh,
the fact that there was a language barrier and the fact that he actually was basically his personal assistant at all facets of life allowed him that access to the bank. And because of that, I think, he had something that other people don't have access to.
that's
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah.
And then Ohtani found out, but much later, huh?
This is the part that's in question, right? So let me ask you a question, Sean. If you had $16 million taken from your bank account, how long do you think it would take for you to actually see that?
I would notice quick because that's more than I even have, you know what I mean? Like, I'd be
Right?
negative.
Okay, so that's really my point. Like, even though he's a very wealthy guy, it's just ironic that over a 16-month period, he didn't notice $16 million, out of his account. There's some stories out there that he was so focused on baseball and making so much money on his endorsements, and he had several bank accounts, which I'm sure. But it's just really weird. I mean, even wealthy people would notice that kind of money. Even wealthy people check their bank account periodically.
Yeah.
So over 16 months, you would see a 500,000 or $1 million wire transfer out of your account, and you would start researching and asking questions. So that's the part that everyone's really in question. And
Right.
I don't even have that answer because, we didn't have a open relationship. I didn't know that all this was transpiring until the end. And to be honest with you, the whole world wants to know that, including myself. I was the closest to it besides those two guys. And I still don't know that true answer of
Wow.
was Shohei Ohtani, really betting on the account? I don't believe so because, he was on the mound pitching sometimes when I was taking bets. So you can't throw a 100-mile fastball and put bets in on a website. But the part of that's really in question, the part that I'm addressing now that I haven't in public is, do I believe Shohei Ohtani knew that there was some, money being transferred out of his account? Did he allow the interpreter
The Tri-Light from Therisage is no joke. Medical grade red and near infrared light with 3 frequencies per light, deep healing, real results, and totally portable. It's legit. Photo biomodulation tech in a flexible on-body panel. This is the Tri-Light from Therisage, and it's next level red light therapy. It's got 118 high-powered polychromatic lights, each delivering 3 healing frequencies, red and near infrared, from 580 to 980 nanometers. It's sleek, portable, and honestly, I don't go anywhere without it.
borrow some of it? That's the part that I believe is a little bit in question.
You think that'll ever come out?
Well, it's funny. ESPN was at my home recently, and the reporter that was at my home was the reporter that got to Ipe Mizuhara and had a direct 1 hour, hour and a half interview before the Dodgers pulled him aside and said, I can't say what they said because I don't know verbatim, but clearly said, "What are you doing? Shut your mouth." And that hour and a half, hour interview, there was a lot that was transpired and said, but it was retracted. So it's funny how, it's easy to make him look like a liar because at the end of the day, he just stole 16, $17 million. But did he really steal the money? That's the part that I question, but I don't have the facts to accuse anybody of anything. But it just, to me, it's still a big question mark.
Yeah. So they put the fall on you basically for taking the bets for this.
Yeah, I mean, well, Ipe took some of the fall, 57 months in prison. But the reality is I was running an illegal business in California. They don't allow sports betting here. And because of that, I don't have a license. So I've never been in trouble with the law. I've never been arrested. But now, I was. And more importantly, I have to definitely take some accountability for my actions, which I am. I mean, I'm facing my sentence guidelines right now is 1 year house arrest, 3 years probation, or up to 37 months in prison. And when I face the judge here in basically 40 days, we're going to find out what happens.
Yeah. And I know you got rated, 16 months ago now? You haven't been able to make any money this whole time?
No, it's been tough. I mean, I own a jujitsu studio called Risk, and it's in Laguna Hills, California. It's a real small studio. But I opened that studio for myself and my daughter and people to train at. I never did it for the money. And so we're now profitable, but I would say I'm making maybe $500 a month.
Damn.
So
That's a big change from what you used to be making.
yeah, I would say in 2023 on my tax return I filed, I made just over 16 million.
Holy crap.
So, you're making over $1 million a month and now you make $500 a month. It's a tough change.
That's a big change,
Yeah.
dude. But you've made it and lost it all before. We were talking earlier.
I have, yeah. I've been through, my book that I wrote is called Recalibrate. And the reason I named it that is I've been through a lot of ups and downs in my life. And I've always, when you're knocked down, you get up, and a lot of people have struggled with that. But I've recalibrated whatever I've chose to do. So When I was a young boy, I was always a hustler. When my parents were 12, they got divorced. My
Yeah.
dad was an alcoholic, drank 40 beers a day, 3 packs of cigarettes.
Jeez.
Great guy, but just really struggled with addiction. And so my mom finally got fed up with it and left. And she tried to keep 4 boys in a house, single mom working 3 jobs. And fast forward the story, she ended up losing the home. She moved to, sadly, a mobile home park in Dana Point. And I moved out, graduated high school. But during that period from 12 to call it 17, 18 years old, I just hustled. I sold baseball cards. I was a paper boy selling the Orange County Register. At 14, I broke the record for sales in Orange County Register, in the county. And I won a trip from my mom to Hawaii, stuff like that. So I've always hustled. That turmoil and that traumatic experience really made me learn to be a hustler and to work hard. So that carried on the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And so Recalibrate is the reason I named my book that, because that's what I try to do.
I love that. Did you end up getting a house for your mom after that?
Yeah, it's a great story. When I was 18, I I had to move back in with my mom into a two bedroom, double wide mobile home in Dana Point, California. And my little brother lived there. So my ex-wife and I were sleeping on the couch while she was pregnant.
Wow.
I was 18 years old.
That's crazy.
So I had this moment of like clarity of like, okay, I'm 18. I don't even know how to take care of myself. I don't even have a job. And now I'm living on a couch in a mobile home. And how do I not only learn to become a man, but grow up and be a father? So that whole turmoil taught me to just really dig deep. And I went out and got a job. So I got a job at a restaurant. And it was a brand new restaurant called Chevy's in Dana Point, California. And when I went into interview, the GM told me, I can't hire you as a waiter. You have zero experience. You're an 18-year-old kid. I can give you a job as a busboy. And I laughed. I said, a busboy, like, they don't make any money is my thought pattern. I said, but I'll take it. I need a job. So I started as a busboy, and about 3 months in, I was making more as a busboy than the waiter was,
Wow.
because I had personality. I was working hard. I mean, obviously bringing chips and water and salsa is a very basic job, but when you actually start talking to people when they're, coming in the restaurant, and you get to know people, and actually the waiter is being kind of bypassed because you have more personality than them. And I was getting side tips from the customers. So I built relationships. So fast forward about 3 months into the working there, I had a couple who kept coming in and asking to sit in my section, which is really funny because I was a busboy.
Yeah.
I don't have a section. And so they just said they wanted to be with Matt. So long story short, the guy actually his wife did, offered me a job. It was a commodity brokerage firm. So I said, I don't care what it is. I don't even know what that is, but I'll take it. It's better than serving chips and salsa.
Yeah.
So he gave me an opportunity to work at this amazing brokerage firm in Irvine, California. And I went in for the interview. It was about a 2-hour interview. You would have thought that I was like applying at Wall Street.
Yeah, that's
Like,
nuts.
he made me feel like I was a $2 hooker. I mean, literally belittled me every which way. Why didn't you go to college? Why are you living in a mobile home? Why are you driving a $400 piece of shit car? And it was great because the more he belittled me in a good way, he was testing me, the more I stood up for myself. And then at the end of the interview, I said, listen, you can't judge me by what you see here. You can judge me by what's in here. So if you give me an opportunity, I'll prove myself, and end up giving me a job in the mailroom. I'll never forget it. It was 60 hours a week at $1,200 a month, which back then when I was 18, it was obviously 32 years ago. I was like, that was a big raise to me. And,
Wow. What is that, $2 an hour?
it felt like it. No, it was probably at the time, oh, maybe it was. I mean, let's do the math.
Hours, 120.
Yeah.
Or wait, 1,200 you said a
Yeah,
week?
$1,200 a month. That was
Okay.
my salary. And I was working literally 60 hours a week. And so whatever that is, it's peanuts,
Okay.
But for me, it was a raise because I'm not serving chips and salsa minimum wage with a little bit of tips. So anyway, but I had a future too, right? So I worked my way there for a little while, and I learned what these guys were doing. I mean, they're 25 to 40, roughly that age group, making $1 million a year, which back then is like making 3 or 4 million now, or
Right.
even more maybe. So I couldn't believe it. They're all driving Ferraris and living this exotic life, chasing girls, doing drugs. I mean, but they were business guys too. They all went to USC or these great, schools, and they had the life that I wanted. So in that process, my job was to transfer incoming phone calls to the brokers. And so we had headsets, and when I would transfer the call, I would stay on the line and I would just listen and be a sponge. And in that process, I learned exactly how they were selling, what they were doing. I didn't still understand the business per se, but I just learned
I hope you guys are enjoying the show. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps the show a lot with the algorithm. Thank you.
the basics of selling. I already had a hustle in me. So I studied the Series 3 exam on my own and just took some books from people that are actually taking the test, studied it on my own on my off hours. So about 6 months into the job, I went to the owner and I said, listen, I want to take the Series 3 exam. And he said, you're not even a assistant broker. You don't even know what you're talking about. And I said, well, if I don't pass it, you can fire me. And he said, that's pretty ballsy. I said, well, I'll prove it. That's when he said to me, it costs $450 for our firm to, make you or have you take the test. And we don't waste money on stuff like that. And number two, you're not ready. You don't even know what you're talking about. So I hand him a stack of flashcards. I said, ask me any question on the exam. So he looked at them. He asked me like 3 or 4 questions and I knew the answers. So, okay. So I'll give you a shot, kid. Went in, I passed barely. It's a 2-part test. I got like a 73. You have to get 70 or higher in both ends and like 80 something. And that was one of the best days of my life. So here I am, 19 years old, having a child. Now I basically just passed the Series 3 exam, which is, it's 7th hardest test in the nation at the time. Yeah, the bar is higher and being a doctor, whatever. But so I went to him, I said, all right, here you go. And he said, all right, I'm going to promote you. So instead of promoting me to an average broker, I worked for the top broker. And took me about a year. I worked my way up there. We were number 1 for almost every month. And then I got promoted to basically my own licensed broker. And so at 21 years old, I bought the house that my family lost back in my old neighborhood. It was 560,000, roughly 5 something. And 21 years old to go buy the house you grew up in and actually, make it all back, so to speak, and get to a level you never thought you would be. It was really a great moment for me.
Lala.
Yeah.
Trailer parked a millionaire in 2-3 years. That's really impressive.
It was great. And it was legal. The problem was I had this addiction on the side that I loved to gamble. And all the hustling I did, during my whole turmoil of hustling at 12 to 18 years old, running poker games at my house, baseball cards, any hustle I could do, I was doing. And so at 21, I now have this great job, but I still have this hustle in me. So I was always booking bets on the side, like small. But now I had a lot of money, especially for a 21-year-old kid. So instead of just being a broker, I decided to open websites and all that stuff were still not really around, but open my own shop, I'll call it, where I was taking bets through a phone, writing them down, recording people, really backdoor stuff like old day bookie stuff. And that business started growing. And to the point where I had all these guys in the office who were making tons of extra money, FU money, let's call it, that they were willing to blow. And I said, I was a family guy, I had a baby, and I didn't do drugs or chase girls. So here we go. I'll just run with this. I'll take my gambling addiction and make it something even positive for me. Because I always gambled. That's the one thing I've always done. I've gambled since I was 12. In sports, it doesn't matter. Poker, anything moving, I gambled on. So at 21, I built this little business, and it just started really developing and developing. And by 25, I went to Costa Rica, set up my own website, and then I can make it scalable. And that's when things really changed.
Why'd you choose Costa Rica?
Because everything's legal there, and they love U.S. citizens. They love, even to this day, they all bookmakers, almost I would say 90% of illegal bookmakers use Costa Rica for their websites because it's legal. If they ever get in trouble, all the servers and everything are there. Nothing's going to get touched or torched, and they can continue to either move their business or do what they got to do. Whereas if it's here and the FBI raids you, they're going to take everything and shut it all down. Yeah. Yeah.
Plus, it's beautiful over there. I heard.
It is. It's great. I actually love that country a lot.
Yeah, my buddies go there for stem cells.
Yeah, and Panama is great for that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to talk about one Costa Rica story where you flew back to get that 1.6 mil back.
Yeah, that was exciting. I had a situation where I was running my business, and I got a little too big for my britches. I started taking bets I couldn't afford, and I had these billionaires betting with me, and they were brothers, so they would pile on specific games. Bet like 200,000 each. So all 3 of them would bet New England Patriots is all I remember because that's where they just crushed me when Tom Brady had just never lost. And so they bet like 600,000 every Sunday on the Patriots. Well, that particular year, Patriots won literally 14-2, but they didn't only win, they covered the spread and went over. They just blew them out. And I'll never forget it because I love Tom Brady. He's an amazing player, but I really hate him because he's cost me multi-millions of dollars. It's just one of those players that as a bookmaker, you always have a team or something that you just remember that was really bad for you. And it was Tom Brady. He was my nemesis. But now you understand why. All he did was win, right? And everybody bet on him. So that being said, I just took too many bets I couldn't afford. So I got beat for $5.7 million. And I took every dollar out of my home. I took every dollar I had. I borrowed money. I did everything I could. And I was $440,000 short of paying these guys. So my next move was to call another bookmaker and say, hey, if you loan me $440, I can cut you into my business. And they said, we'll do it on one condition. You have to move your entire package to us. We'll go 50-50 on a split. We'll give you the $440, and then you'll have that as a makeup, they call it. And once the business makes $880, the $440 will be cleaned, and then we'll give you 50%. And as much as I didn't want to do that, I had no choice because nobody wants to give away half their business if they don't have to.
Yeah.
So I did it. I had to pay my tab, be honorable, took care of it. And then I'm sitting there and like a week goes by and I'm like miserable because the package would, let's say, I don't remember the amount, but say it wins 300,000. I'm only getting 150 now. The greedy side of me is like, fuck, I'm giving up, $150,000 here just to borrow 440 was my thinking. I was like, this doesn't make sense. So the next move I did was the wrong move. It worked out, but it's the wrong move. I basically took advantage of a situation, opened an account, told them that there was these billionaire bettors, and I started firing bets, 100,000 a game. I won a little heater, which is rare because when you're desperate, winning is the hardest thing to do, right? So I caught a heater. I won 1.6 million. And the net of everything after the week, if you subtract the 440, they would be 980 something thousand. I call it $1 million. So I get a call on Sunday night when all the bets are over. And they say, hey, we need you to get back out to Costa Rica. And I said, oh, this isn't good. I knew that was a problem.
You knew right away.
Yeah. I mean, why do I need to go back? Number one. Number two, they don't want to talk about anything on the phone. So what do? I book a flight, talk airlines, get out there, and I get picked up at the airport. I go to their sports book in Costa Rica. It wasn't in the city. It's weird. Most of them are in the city. Theirs was kind of in the country. And they were a very big operation. They had guys with guns, guards when you walk in because, U.S. guy. In fact, one of the bookmakers was killed over there.
Holy crap.
About 4 years ago.
Damn.
Yeah, the locals knew he had money and they just robbed him and killed him.
Jeez.
And held him for ransom for Bitcoin. So it's sad. It's
Like he had a bunch of Bitcoin?
Yeah, they got, I don't even know how much. It was a lot.
Holy crap.
It was owner of 5 dimes. It's a really sad story. If you Google it, you can see it. But anyway, he died. And his wife was holding the Bitcoin and she sent it. And I'm telling you the story because I don't know all the, intricacies, but that's the bottom line. So these guys have protection, of course. And they have, people with them at all times. I don't blame them. So when I got there, I was very, on edge because I knew it wasn't good. They sat me down in a room and grilled me and made me feel, wanted to see if I'd crack.
Yeah.
And I just completely lied to their face, of course. And I told them, I said, these bets aren't for me. And they said, well, the IP address is from California. And these guys supposedly live in Vegas. We could see from your website that all the bets are this IP address in Vegas. This is your IP address. How do you explain that? And it caught me off guard, but I had to be ready. I said, well, they called me. They were golfing and they needed me to put some bets in. I mean, if they lost, they would have paid, which is complete bullshit because it was really me.
Yeah.
And that was the answer I had for that. It was the only thing I could think of at the moment. But the bottom line is they knew I was full of shit. But I told them, I said, you have 3 choices. You could take me out in the field and just kill me. You could not pay me and I'll go back home and I'll ruin your reputation and tell everybody you guys stiff everyone, or you could pay me. Those are the 3 choices. I'm not going to sit here and argue. There's three partners and they're literally arguing with each other. One's just say, pay the fucking kid. The other one's like, you know what? I'm not paying this guy. I said, I'm done with this shit. Like, you're not going to sit here and try to strong arm me. So those are your 3 choices. You make up. Long story short, they drove me back to the airport. They said, when you land, give us a call. So I didn't know what that meant, right? 6 hours later, I land LA, call this number that they gave me. The guy says, I'll meet you off Hawthorne Boulevard in 18 minutes. Okay. So I pull into a parking lot. Next thing you know, this guy pulls up, throws a bag just under $1 million, says, we're done with you. Move all your customers. We want nothing to do with you, which I don't blame them. And I had $1 million to start my business back up.
Wow.
Yeah. So I never looked back. And so from that day forward, I've never, I'm not going to say I haven't booked bets I shouldn't have, but I've never put myself in that predicament where, you know, I could put myself where I can't afford to pay people.
Yeah, not over leveraging yourself, right? Because that's
Correct.
easy to do in your space.
Well, I've over leveraged myself many times in a different way. My own betting, casinos, betting with other bookies, that I'm guilty of. I've done that too many times.
Yeah.
The problem is I always separated my business and I treated it as a business, and the other stuff I treated as a hobby because it was a bad hobby. But that's why when I was flying, you know, throughout Vegas, if you look at, you know, some of the stories and some of the parts of my investigation, they're going after the casino, Resorts World. And that's because I lost $9 million in 2023 at Resorts World.
Damn.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Just sports betting?
Just sports betting. No, casino too. Mostly casino, actually. Sports betting, I probably only lost $1 million or $2 million, but in the casino, I lost $9 million. And it's all factual. Crap. It's all the,
so you just love gambling. You're just
I do, man. I do. It's been good to me, but bad to me.
Yeah.
You know,
would you say overall you're up or down on it?
Definitely down. No question. Anyone who tells you they're winning gambling, it's 1% of the world that could even beat it.
Actually, those guys have like an in somehow.
You know, the truth is the professional sports bettors, they have algorithms. They're running a system. They don't even have any emotions to it. Half of them don't even know any of the players, don't even care, didn't even play sports themselves.
Right.
They're just smart individuals that are running algorithm systems, and they know how to make money beating a system. It's almost like trading stocks to them. You know, they're investing, they're doing all the homework.
Yeah.
They have it down to the weather, the umpires, just everything. Whereas a normal degenerate gambler is just what's on TV, who do they think is a great player, who did they watch last week. There's really, the logic is much less.
They got no chance because they're betting on emotion.
And also they're fighting the right. They're laying 110 for every $100 over time. That's going to kill you.
Right.
And that's why a bookmaker and all these casinos make money over time. And even if you are a professional, you end up getting cut out. I mean, I'm barred from Cosmo. I'm barred from Wynn. Well, now actually I'm barred from every casino in the country.
Wow.
Before it was for when I started winning, but now I'm barred because of my situation.
Damn, that sucks.
Yeah.
So you pretty much had to give it up then at this point.
Every which way. And one of my plea deals is that I cannot gamble $1. Obviously, I'd close my business, but I cannot put one bet in whatsoever on anything. I can't even set foot in a casino. If I do, I'm arrested.
Jeez. Yeah, they got facial recognition out in Vegas.
Oh, they do, especially
catch
me.
You quick, man. Yeah, you're probably super recognizable.
I mean, Vegas Pauly C talks about me almost every day on his Instagram.
He's banned from Resorts World too.
He is. He hates them.
Yeah, he just came on last week and he said as soon as he walks in there, he gets arrested.
I saw the video. He just got on there and they came and escorted him off the property.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes you wonder like how much information they have on you when you walk in there.
You'd be surprised. Vegas is very smart. They do their homework. They're there to win, and they're a corporation that is not going to give you any chance if you have an edge.
Yeah.
Period. Counting cards and blackjack, I've been backed off of 5 casinos.
That one's pretty easy to catch because if you're just like adjusting your bets and winning.
You're right, because they actually have a system on the camera system now. It runs you down.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like if your betting pattern, it's really simple. If you're in the plus count on blackjack and your bet patterns are always max bets if it's high plus count and low if it's negative,
right?
That just tells it in itself. So computer AI can tell them this guy's card counting.
That's crazy.
I mean, obviously back in the old days, they would take pros, put them up on the cameras and watch. Those
days are long gone. Human error.
Yeah. AI takes over everything, you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's nuts. Wow.
Yeah.
That is crazy, dude. There's a lot to dive in there, but dude,
yeah,
I want to hear some of your crazy gambling stories.
Well, I can tell you the biggest bet I've ever made in my life is 2023 Super Bowl, Kansas City Chiefs against the Eagles. I was in the Bahamas, so I bet 4.2 million.
Holy crap.
On the Chiefs. And then at halftime, they were down at halftime by, I think it was 14 or 10. The Mahomes looked like he hurt his ankle.
Yeah.
He like hobbled in. I thought I was dead. Everyone thought Chad Henne was coming in. Eagles looked like a much better team, but something in me just told me you're a degenerate. If you bet Eagles now and they come back, I can't bet 5 million at halftime. So I just bet 400,000 more second half on the Chiefs, just hoping to get lucky. And I did. I mean, the Chiefs came back and won by 3.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a wild game. It was the biggest bet I've ever made. So 4.6 million, which is really a $9.2 million swing. Because in this case, I put the money up, most of it. I bet a lot through bookies too. Yeah. but I put the money through the casino. So that money's gone. So when you really make that type of wager, people don't realize if you bet 4 million, you're really betting it's $8 million swing if you win or lose. Because you're either out the 4 or you're getting 8 back, right? So in this case, it was 9.2 million. And that's the biggest bet I've ever made. And that's something I could talk about successfully. There's been many million, $2 million losses and, games that I've lost. So Super Bowls, especially, because I always bet bigger on the Super Bowls.
That's got to be a record, right? For Super Bowl bets?
For me, there's people that bet more.
Really?
Yeah, you'd be surprised.
Okay, because I remember Sean Perry bet $1 million. That was like a huge deal a few years ago. I've never heard of 4 million.
I actually have the tickets in my phone to prove it.
Wow, we'll throw it up on the video. That's cool.
Yeah, I do. I have the tickets.
Crazy, dude.
Yeah, so the tickets I have on my phone, because I bet so much, they had to separate them per ticket. So instead of it saying 1 million, you'll see it says 250,000 several times.
Wow.
But you will see that there are different bets, different numbers and everything. So it's not like I duplicated the same ticket.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I bet I think it was 1.5 million in the Bahamas at Atlantis Casino, and they wouldn't take any more. So the rest I had to offload to other bookmakers. Yeah.
Was NFL your best sport to bet on?
The worst sport to bet on?
Like your best?
No, worst.
Oh, it was your worst?
Yeah, but most fun. Best sport that I was good at was baseball. I would say that football is the hardest sport in the world to bet on, but it's the best for bookmakers because everyone bets it. It's the most unpredictable sport. I don't care. Yes, you'll see whatever team's the best this year, Eagles, right? Yeah, they won 16 games out of the 18 that they played or whatever it is. But they didn't cover the spread on all of them. In fact, they were probably 500. So you can bet on the Cleveland Browns, one of the worst teams, let's say, and you might win money. So it's like it's not as easy as you think, right? People don't wager. The truth is the NFL has the most parity.
Yeah.
That's why it's hard.
Well, I've had a few sports bettors on, and all of them have said they believe the NFL is rigged.
I don't believe that. I do believe that there could be moments where a referee could maybe even have some involvement of his own betting action and throw a flag unnecessarily or something. That's possible. I don't believe that these players, even though there's a lot coming out right now, right, of people gambling and stuff, I think they're paid too much. They're like, for them to go to that level to rig or fix a game and tarnish their career and the amount of money they're making is just not worth it.
The risk to reward doesn't seem worth it. If you're already making millions,
correct,
why would you risk that?
Correct. Now, again, going back to a referee, different conversation.
Yeah, I don't know how much refs make, but probably not more than $1 million, I'd imagine.
No. And here's the thing, the problem is that even if a referee's in on a game, let's just say he's out to fix a game in football, it's very hard for him. He can make a big drastic change, but somehow that team could still win. If he throws a pass interference flag that's BS, that's going to change drastically the outcome of that possible, let's say that touchdown or whatever. But throughout the whole game, he's not controlling. One ref can't control the whole game. Right. So
not in football. Basketball, though?
Basketball is different.
Yeah, Lakers Kings.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, that was rigged.
Basketball is different, especially college. You have the Arizona State scandal.
Yeah.
You have so many things where these guys aren't maybe ever going to make it pro. Don't blame them. I'm not saying to do that, but I can understand their philosophy. A little different now with the way these college kids are getting money. But if you go back, 5 years, whole different ballgame. Yeah.
Did you bet a lot of college back in the day?
I bet everything moving.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing I didn't bet.
Ping pong, tennis?
I actually bet ping pong during COVID because there was nothing else to bet.
Yeah.
And that's I would say ping pong for about 6 months was the only thing really available.
Wow.
And people were betting it like crazy.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Ping pong's a crazy sport, man.
No, but I couldn't even tell you one thing about the player. I know how to play ping pong.
Yeah.
But how do you know this guy's better than this guy?
If they're Asian, usually, right?
Well, the Russians were good at it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Russian ping pong was huge during COVID. Yeah.
I know China always wins it, though, right?
Yeah.
In the Olympics.
That's all they do.
Can you bet on the Olympics?
Yeah. You
can
bet almost everything in the Olympics.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you hit the Michael Phelps wave when he was
back then it wasn't as big, but the odds were so big on him, so high because he's so amazing. You'd have to lay 20-1 sometimes on him to win a swim meet. And
that's too safe for your standards.
It's just too much risk. Meaning you're risking too much money to make too little of money.
Oh, it's too risky. Okay.
Yeah, because if you're laying 20 to make one, even if you win, okay, that's great. But the one time you lose, you're losing 20 wagers. So that's what I mean by that. As far as risk, there's almost no risk I wasn't willing to take. That's the problem.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Your lifestyle must have been very up and down.
It was wild. I got off on it though. You know, that's the problem. Like the dopamine rush that I had in my life and all the ups and downs were traumatic.
Yeah.
You know, we were on a private jet almost every 2 weeks with $2 million,
Yeah.
flying to different countries even. My wife and I went to Andrea Bocelli. They flew in Dominican Hard Rock. They flew 18 of my family members to Andrea Bocelli. We had front row seats, and you know, I flew out there with 2 million, and I won 2.5 million. Flew home with that in cash on the plane privately, all the way from here to Dominican. And those experiences and the red carpet they roll out for me
Yeah.
was it's just really enticing. I mean, the room that we had at Resorts World, we had a backyard with a pool. It's 10,000 square feet, 4 bedrooms, glass all the way around it.
Is this the one in Vegas or a different one?
In Vegas.
Oh, wow. I didn't know they had that.
They have the best, in my opinion, they have the best rooms, the best villas that I've ever seen.
Really?
Yeah, truly.
Wow.
And I've stayed in all of them. Palazzo, Wynn's is probably right
I heard
there.
Wynn is good.
Wynn is good. The only reason though the Resort World might be better, I don't even like the property, but the villas, it's new, it's brand new. So
Right.
like it's glass all the way around with this amazing backyard. Literally, the backyard is bigger than a house backyard, and the pool's amazing. You have a full barbecue. It's got a spa. I mean, it's truly amazing.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll ever get unbanned or you think it's permanent?
It's a great question. I'll be honest. I'm the most taboo gambler in all of Las Vegas in the history now.
Wow.
So I've been told that once I pay my restitution, which I'm paying right now, 1.6 million that I owe the government, and once my charges are cleared and I'm off probation, that certain casinos will allow me to come back as long as I have legal money and I could show that it's legal. But I believe that it's going to be only a few.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a casino's dream customer because you're losing
sure.
tons of money.
That's why this occurred. I mean, Resorts World was definitely looking the other way. You know, like
Right.
they knew I was a bookmaker.
Well, they're actually hurting, so they probably loved you.
Well, think about it. Why are they hurting? I did 12% of the revenue in 2023.
Damn.
Me and my staff, I call it my staff, the players I brought in, because my wife was my casino host.
Yeah.
We got her hired as the rep. It's the only gambler that's ever done this.
Oh, wow. I never heard of that.
Yeah. First person to do it.
Why do you go that route?
Because she was able to earn on every trip that we would bring me and my gamblers rather than just some random host. And
so the host earns off their gamblers. Is that how it works?
So it depends. A regular host that works for the actual casino, they're paid a salary and they really get a bonus based on
the losses.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, they call it Theo. It's a nice way. They don't want to say losses because
Right.
they don't want to hurt the players' feelings. But theoretical is a number that spits out based on what the player will lose. So the higher the Theo for the host, the more their bonus is. Now, when it comes to independent reps, which is what my wife was, she doesn't work directly for the casino. She works for multiple casinos. And every time she brings a customer, she gets also paid on Theo,
Wow.
whether they win or lose. That's what's great.
I need to
All
start
based
doing
on-
that myself.
You have the contacts too.
Yeah, I got so many high rollers that come on the pod and
You
gamble.
do. And the only thing you have to do is negotiate the trip for the customer though. So as a host, so my wife would negotiate, okay, when I would fly in, most of the time I would bring in $1 million or $2 million and they would give us 5% or 3% in promo chips. So if it's 5% on 2 million, it's $100,000 of chips up front, just free chips.
I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah. It's all, you got to know how to, negotiate the
Right.
best. And truly that's what I think I did better than almost all these people because you learn through trial and error. And I grinded these casinos as much as I possibly could because at the end of the day, it's a war, me against them.
And they want your business, and there's so much casino competition in Vegas, right?
100%.
You could leverage each other.
That's what I would do. And I would go, I'll give an example. I went to the Super Bowl of 22. 22 Super Bowl. I went to Palazzo. I won $1.2 million. I was there and it was Sunday. And I was like, I don't want to gamble anymore because if I go gamble, I won't get a discount if I lose the money back that I just won. And I've already reached all my comps. We were there for 3 days, did everything possible, got the gift cards they give my wife and I sometimes 20,000 in gift cards.
Man.
They give us the promo chips. They'd give us a bottle of Louis, a bottle of Screaming Eagle, whatever I requested, right? And at that point, there's no value in me continuing to gamble other than just winning. But if I lose, I want a discount. So I checked out. We went to Resorts World. That was my first trip there. I brought $1 million. I lost 850,000, and we gambled there. And on that 850, I got 16% back.
Wow.
Because now it's a new trip and it's a new spot. So we negotiate those deals. And of course, I got promo chips walking in and all that all over again. So that even though I lost 850, that sucked. But if I gambled and lost 850 back at Palazzo, I would have got zero.
Smart. So you were
Yes.
very strategic with
I tried to be. It's hard when you're a degenerate too.
that.
But yeah, I mean, I try to cut the edges back in my favor as much as I can.
Yeah. So with 5 kids, do you ever think about like, damn, can I keep this up my whole life?
I've been doing it since I was 21.
Wow.
And truly until I'll be 50 in, literally 40 days.
Not a lot of gamblers make it that long.
Not a lot of people make it in Vegas. Like I'm truly, listen, let's be real. I had a business feeding it though. So,
True.
that's
the difference right there.
It is.
Because other people, they don't have that fallback.
No, they don't. Maybe even if you're a doctor or you own a business, whatever, you make good money, but you're not going to be able to go to Vegas every 2-3 weeks with $1 million, $2 million.
Right.
And also I negotiated such great deals to give me a little bit more of an edge. I'm not saying I didn't had an edge over them, but I knocked their edge down drastically.
Right.
So I could survive. And I'll give you an example. When I started gambling at the MGM Mirage Corporations, I was 21. I first went there. I'll never forget it. I won 25,000 my first trip. That's what sucked me in, right? It's all in my book. And then at that point, they gave me the big suite and, it just sucked me in. And I went home and I said, man, I love this. So I started going back like every 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And I would bring like 50K, 100K because I was 21, didn't have that kind of money. And I would lose. I lost over the next, I'm going to call it 8 years. I lost $3 million.
Holy crap.
But that's over a long period of going like every 3 weeks, right? And it was affordable for me because it was over 8 years, $3 million. And then I finally started counting cards and learning how to play blackjack and just started making more of an edge for myself. So I wanted all back, all 3 million. And then I get a letter, I don't know, 6 months later, says, you're barred from our casinos. You're not welcome on our properties. So I call my host and he didn't even know about it. He's like, let me find out what's going on. So he calls me back, says, yeah, I'm sorry, man. You're what they call a non-profitable guest. And I said, well, I know what that means. I know what non-profitable means, but really explain that in depth to me. Why am I haven't won? He said, well, you actually have won $8,000 over your 8 or 9 year playing there. I said, well, 8,000. He goes, yeah, the problem is you have $2 million in comps. So basically I've milked $2 million in trips at their, their steakhouse, the nightclubs, everything, bottles of wine, whatever I can get. I have milked for over the last 8 or 9 years. I've cost them $2 million. That's how they viewed me. So they said, we're done with you. So to this day, I'm not welcome anywhere, but as of the last 10 years, I couldn't gamble there.
Wow. That's a good point though. Cause even if you break even, if you take advantage of the comps, you can make a ton of money.
Yeah. And it's free vacations. I mean, especially the way we're living, you're flying on a private jet. They pick me up at, literally 10 minutes from my house. You get on the plane, there's lobster, caviar, you bring all your friends, all your kids. You have obviously a, chauffeur when you're waiting. It's a, Bentley or whatever car you want, Rolls Royce. You go to the casino. You don't wait in line. You walk in. They already have your credit card on file. You walk into this villa. It's 10,000 square feet with a pool in it. It has a pool table, a bowling alley. I've had in my room. I've had a basketball court.
Damn.
At the Palms.
Palms, right?
I had that. I had the Hugh Hefner Villa. I've had every room in Las Vegas. I stayed at all the Westgates. All 3 of the top floors those are 16,000 square feet. They're very old. Beautiful though. There's no villa I haven't stayed in all of Las Mansions. I stayed at MGM 100 times. So you experience these things that suck you in so much. I mean, they're giving you everything and you feel like a king. So it's really hard to not go back, especially if you have a gambling addiction. So you temper those two together and it's like one of your buddies say, hey, you want to go to Vegas? I mean, the answer is always yes. So I would just got accustomed to doing that almost every 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah. So you love the luxury lifestyle.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't, right? I mean, it's hard not to enjoy these perks, but at what cost is it?
Right.
I mean, there was a lot of cost involved and I'm dealing with those costs today.
Yeah. What do you think the average edge is at these casinos?
Well,
percentage wise, I guess.
I would say clearly slots used to be their main focus of money and it's really changed. Las Vegas in the last 5 years has gone from gambling is not their main source of revenue like it used to be. It's actually all the other stuff, the restaurants, the nightclubs, and all these things that they don't really talk about as much. Meaning before the old days was all gambling.
Right.
That's all they cared about. And it's really shifted because people aren't gambling as much. Everyone's gambling. They're not gambling as much, like true gambling, like 5, 10, it's even 10 years ago. It was more, they made all their money on slots and tables. And of course they still make money on that. It's really the core, but where they really are making money now is all the other stuff. Cause you live there, you know how expensive it is to go out to STK
Oh
or,
yeah,
you
you're
know,
dropping 500.
yeah, at least. And if you go to a nightclub, if you get a table, it's 20 grand.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want a
Depending
reasonable
on the
table.
day, yeah.
Right.
Could be.
And who the DJ is or whatever. Yeah. And we've stayed at all of them. We were front row for Pitbull, Resorts World, New Year's Eve. I've been to every Calvin Harris, any
Marshmallow.
Tiesto, all of them. I mean, we've been at the pools doing, bottle service, 25,000 the cabanas. I mean, I've done all of that 100,000 times.
Mm.
So you get a point where you kind of just get, over it. For
Yeah.
me, I was over that part.
I'm over the club scene, to be honest.
Yeah, it's old.
As you get older, it's like,
Well, it's
why
actually
am I here?
changing. Even your age demographic has kind of changed from clubs down to lounges or just
Yeah,
more,
I'd much rather hit a lounge
Me too.
easily.
Yeah. Oh, you can actually have a conversation.
Yeah, I can't hear shit in the club,
No.
and you feel like terrible the next day.
I hate the clubs. I used to do them all the time because that was kind of the thing in my genre. But honestly, I haven't been to a club in 2 years, maybe 3 years.
Yeah, LA just got voted worst clubs in the country. Actually,
I'm not
people just
surprised.
go there and go on their phones.
Yeah,
while they're at the
that's true,
table,
though, right?
Crazy.
That's why people go to lounges. I could actually have a nice conversation, some good drinks, or some maybe back music that's tempered. It's the club scene is dying.
So you had a near death experience. You had a gun pointed at your head once.
That's an exaggeration. It wasn't at my head, but it was definitely at my body. And this particular guy was betting with me. He won. First week he played with me. He won $88,000. He drove from Fresno to my house to pick it up, which was a red flag number one on a Monday morning. So he even counted the money at my house, which I thought was really funny.
Huh.
You hand a guy a bag of $88,000, he's really going to count it down. What if it's $200 short? Just call me. I'll give you
Yeah.
$200. So he counts the money, drives home. The next week he loses 100 and I think it was 114,000. And I call him up and it's no answer, day after day after day. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why is this guy ghosting me? And it came to a point after about a week or 2 weeks of just continue to call this guy. I realized he's not paying me, right? So my friend owned a bail bonds company. So I asked him, I said, hey, I need this guy's address. Can you run it through the system? So I got 2 addresses in Fresno. So I drove this long drive to Fresno, not a place I want to go. And I get there, and the first house I went to was kind of not dumpy, but just nothing special. And he didn't live there anymore. So then I drive to the second address, another neighborhood. It was really nice, brand new neighborhood, and I was surprised. And I get to the guy's door, and his kid answers the door. He's like 15 years old. And I said, hey, is your dad here? And he says, yeah. So the guy comes to the door, and he's only met me once. So when it's dark out, you turn on the porch light and you kind of look. If you don't know someone, you're kind of looking to see who they are. And I said, his name is Robert. I said, what's up, Robert? And he looks at me and he's like, I said, it's Matt. You know why I'm here. And he goes, hold on a second. So his kid was like, 5 feet behind him. So I realized, he's probably going to put his kid away or whatever. So he closed the door and I'm waiting. And he comes back out. He goes, hey, you want to come in? I said, no, I'll pass on that. We can talk out here, because I don't know what his plans are. So we walk out his driveway and now we're standing there and he looks at me and says, I don't pay bookmakers. I said, well, that's funny. 2 weeks ago when you set up the account, you sure seem to act like you do. So you just completely took a shot to fuck me? And he's like, yeah. I said, okay. He goes, there's a way we can fix this. And I said, how's that? He said, you can give me accounts with other bookies and I'll do the same thing and I'll pay you back. I said, are you out of your fucking mind? Like, what's wrong with you? And then in this process, I see like a bulge in his pants. And I look down and I said, what's that for? And he pulls it out. And literally, you could see he's like shaking as he's holding it. So that it made me a little bit, I was already shitting my pants because I have a gun pointed at me. But of course, I'm not going to show that, right? So I just told him, I said, you better fucking shoot me then, motherfucker, because you're either going to pay this or we're going to have a big problem. And so as he's shaking, I could see in my mind, of course, I don't know what he's thinking, but I could feel that he was really nervous. So I said, put the fucking gun down. So he puts the gun back in his pants. And I said, look, I'm going to give you an option. You have a 15-year-old boy in there. I'm going to go home. I'm going to let you sleep on this because this is a really, really bad decision you're making here. You have an opportunity to wire me the money tomorrow. If you don't, it won't be me coming back here. It's going to be somebody else, and they're not going to be so nice. So you make that decision. I'll leave it up to you. He's like, is that a threat? I said, no, I'm just telling you your options. So I drove home. The next day he called me. He said, are you sure you won't just set up an account? I said, I'm not doing that. He said, well, how about we settle? I said, well, I'm not settling. You just took 88 grand from me. He said, all right, I'll pay you the 88 grand. I said, fine, just fucking pay that and we'll be done. So he wired the 88,000. So there was a $0 exchange net. But that was probably the dumbest decision I made, or one of them, because at the end of the day, is 88 grand really worth risking my life? But I had no idea that was going to happen. But I also don't want to be known as a guy, when I was in the business, as a guy who was like, you can just take a shot and it's no big deal. You have to have some, presence, right? And for me, I was known. They called me Tattoo Matt. Um, I was just known as a guy that's not going to take some shit. I'm not saying I'm the baddest motherfucker around, but
Yeah.
I wasn't taking anyone's shit.
Well, that's why the mob guys got into this, because you can't screw those guys over, right?
100%. And
They're collecting.
Those days are kind of over, as you know, because cameras are on every corner and
Right.
you can't get away with what they were getting away with. But you're right. That presence left, especially in California. It really wasn't really here ever, really. It was all back east. But
Vegas had a little run with it.
They did. You're right. Especially when the casinos were run by the mob, right?
Yeah.
And even for a little while, it still kind of hung in there. But now, because of
DraftKings and FanDuel, there's really no point, right?
No.
Unless you're betting huge amounts.
Even then, they'll take big amounts, but they'll cut you off too. You start winning. I mean,
they'll cut you quick.
Yeah, they're just like a casino, and I get it, because I can't sit here and make fun of them when I was doing the same thing. If I had a professional, yeah, of course, it's a business, right? So as much as I bitch about it, and I want to say that that's bullshit, it's not. They're running a business.
Who was the best sports bettor you ever met? Like, you just couldn't lose.
I never met Billy Walters personally, but I've been told that he bet through my website back in the day through Beards. So he's there's a couple groups that I know called sharp groups that were really, really good, but he would be the best that I know of individually. There are guys that are known to be better now, like groups, but they're groups and they all work as a team and they go out and get accounts through bookies throughout the country and they just chip away at people until they cut them off or stiff them. And they're so good, they don't even care. They just beat the crap out of bookies all day long.
Plus, these groups can alter the lines, right? Because they're betting so much in volume.
They're the ones moving the lines.
Wow.
And it's not even volume. Believe it or not, they will have volume. But I'll give you an example. The way I worked it out is I became friendly with these guys because I didn't want them attacking my website anymore. I got tired of that. So I would always pay them. And then I realized that most bookies weren't paying them. They'd say, if your action is sharp, we're just not going to pay you. It was a smart deterrent to get sharps to go through their website. The problem is you just don't know who's sharp and who's not. And then you also could ruin your reputation by not paying a guy, even though you understand that's the message you put out. You don't want people spreading that rumor. So it's a really fine line. So the moral of the story is I would have these guys, after they beat the crap out of me for a few weeks, I cut them off and say, look, I'll make you a deal. I'll get you a couple accounts with some other bookies I don't like. You have to beat them up all day.
Yeah.
And in return for that, you never attack my website again.
Smart.
Just you and I, we're code. It's all good. And you go make your money. And eventually I'll partner up with you later or whatever, on some other accounts. And that was our agreement I made with most sharps. And so they knew if you're betting with any action sport, my agents would give accounts out and the guy would say, sorry, we can't take that account. We're sharp.
What's considered a win percentage for a sharp? Is it like above 55 or?
It's right around there. You'd be surprised. Like people that don't understand numbers look at that and they're like, that's it. But over a period of time and volume, it's a lot.
That wrecks you, right?
It does.
So if they're winning 100K each one.
100%. I mean, over time and the volume they're getting, because they're betting it like, let's say they're betting $2,000 on just one account, right? But they have 300 accounts across the country. Those are big numbers, per game. And they're betting 20, 30 games in a day.
Yeah.
It's volume. It's big.
Yeah, that could wreck you.
Yeah.
Sounds like you cared a lot about your reputation while you were doing all this.
It's the only thing you have as a bookmaker. I mean, at the end of the day, if you have a bad reputation, you're toast.
Yeah.
Because, it spreads like wildfire.
Especially these days with social media, right?
Yeah. I mean, they'll blast you on their Facebook or Instagram or whatever. And next thing you know, everyone's talking about you.
Yeah.
And then they believe that. Some people believe the stuff they hear, right? So even to this day, the media conversation we had earlier, it's like, I have people that have no clue. They don't know me. They don't know nothing about me, but they view me in the media and they believe what they read or heard. And it's sad because that isn't who I am per se. I mean, there's parts of it that are true.
Did you know that media attack was coming or was it kind of?
I did because the FBI leaked it to the world in March.
They leaked it. So they leaked it to the press?
Yes. So I got raided in October 5th, 2023. I had 29 FBI agents coming down my driveway as I put
Holy.
my 3-year-old son in the car.
Did you know that was coming?
I had zero idea. I actually was putting my son in the car. I heard FBI freeze, and I thought it was a joke. I look over, and there's 8 red dots on me.
Jeez.
Full tactical gear, battle ram, shield, whole 9 yards. Like I was literally El Chapo. And so, of course, I start shitting my pants inside, grab my son. They didn't cuff me because I'm holding a 3-year-old. And they pull me to the side, and then they say, who's in the house? They're screaming, who's in the house? I said, my wife and a handyman. And they said, and next, those 8 guys, they stormed. They have there's 29 of them there, right? 3 women, 26 guys, and a dog. So the 8 guys and the dog go in, and they're going to detain the rest of the house and obviously make sure the perimeter is safe. So next thing you know, I see my handyman come out, cuffed, and then
Poor handyman.
yeah, all he's doing is painting, and then my wife crying. One of the hardest moments of my life because I'm just looking at her bawling and knowing that our life has just changed drastically.
Right.
And then putting her through that, all the emotion of being unsafe and not being able to protect her. And now I'm holding my son. Of course, they separate us, right? I can't even talk to her. The women are over there talking to her. That's why they bring the women because they're going to frisk her and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's very traumatic. And they make you feel like you are just a hard criminal, which technically I was a criminal, right? I did commit a crime. But that's the part that's still up for debate with a lot of people, right? But back to the raid, 8 hours later, they took every dollar out of my house. They took 30 plus purses of Chanel, Louis Vuittons. They took all of my watches, all the Breitlinks and Rolexes, gold coins, all the casino chips I had, and all the cash.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Did they ever release how much money that was worth?
Yeah, it was 270,000 in cash, some gold coins. It was only like 20 something thousand in chips. And then the purses value and the watches were pretty high. Of course, it's high end stuff. I estimate everything roughly around $1 million. But, to be honest with you, I got off a plane 2 days earlier from Resorts World, flew me and all my friends to the Dallas Cowboys game.
Yeah.
And then I flew back to Resorts World. I was there for the week. And then I flew home. And then when I got home, I paid all my customers. So all the cash that I had, because I ended up winning $1 million for that trip, all the cash I had, I paid everybody out. So thank God.
Oh, thank God.
Because otherwise I would have had all this outstanding debt to people in the streets, So whatever I had left in my home wasn't what I had 2 days prior.
Yeah.
So that was.
Yeah, because you might not ever get that back. My friend James O'Keefe had stuffed seats like 5 years ago.
Right.
He never got it back. His phone.
Yeah, my phone. I just got my watches, my wife's purses and stuff because I'm paying the federal government. I'm paying my restitution, so they gave us those items back. But you're correct. All the cash, the chips, and all that, toast.
Damn,
it's gone.
That is nuts.
They even said you're not getting it back.
Wow.
Yeah. If they deem it ill-gotten gains, you got no chance.
Crazy. 29 of them. Wow. Is it because the dollar amount was so high that they just?
You know what? It's funny you say that. I wondered the same thing. I was raided 2014 by the FBI.
Really?
There was 14 agents.
Huh.
Yeah. So I was already raided once. This was a much different experience. In 2014, they released me back to the wild, I call it, and they took the cash, every dollar in my house again, and I signed an abandonment form. And what that form stated, I have a copy on my phone, it stated that as long as I don't hire an attorney and I don't go after the money, they won't arrest me.
Interesting.
And so to me, it was a get out of jail free card because here I have 14, Homeland Security in my home, and they're not arresting me. They told me that what I was doing was illegal, but sign this form, give up the money, and we'll go. I was like, okay. I was scared. It was my first time. I didn't know what was going on. This time, I was 29, and it was just a different feel. It was very I felt like I literally was Al Capone.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I'm just a bookmaker in California.
Well, I think this time there were some famous people involved, and they wanted to make an example, probably, right? Whenever there's a celebrity involved, I feel like that's what their mindset is.
That too, and the key to the ingredient here was the casinos, which right now, as we speak, they're in a big argument and a big settlement between Resorts World and the United States government.
Oh, really?
You are going to see, Sean, in my opinion, the biggest fine in the history of Nevada in the next 30 to 45 days.
Holy crap.
By far.
So they got in big trouble.
Yeah. So this is the part that a lot of people don't really know the details on that I'm giving you, that you'll see. By the time it comes out, it will be the biggest fine in the history of Nevada. That's my belief. And I say that because the Wynn just had the biggest one. It was $130 million.
So this happened to the win earlier too?
10 years ago, but it just settled
Wow, it took
like
10 years.
8 months ago. This one though is not going to take 10 years.
It's gonna be quicker.
They can't prosecute me. I can't. Well, I've already pled guilty, but they can't sentence me until the settlement is done.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
So they want to expedite that so they can sentence
do.
you quicker.
Yeah, I want them to.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I sit in this limbo, which it's already been almost 17 months.
Of not making money, which for you is
Not only not making money, don't know if you're going to prison, don't know what's going to happen next, don't know anything really. You're just sitting here like a dead duck. I'm getting no credit for time. I mean, I'm not in prison, but I feel like I am because, the unknown is almost worse than the known, right?
I agree.
So sitting here today and just like not knowing your fate is probably the most difficult part.
Well, April 4th is a big day for you, man. I hope things go well.
Thank you, man.
Where can people find you in the meantime?
At Matthew Bowyer 5 is my Instagram. I'm pretty much on all social media channels, YouTube, TikTok. But my book will be coming out, Recalibrate, right after sentencing. I highly recommend you read it. It's a great book.
Perfect. Check them out, guys, and I'll see you next time.